Hi guys, I am back with another video. This time it's in .NET MAUI and it's somewhere with the Gemma that Google released. I wanted to do it with Gemma 4, but unfortunately ONNX is not supported yet through their package of Gemma 4 because it's just released. So let's before going that what you are going to get from this video. So basically I did an experiment that can I run the Gemma models in locally, and can that be used in production kind of systems if possible. There are some drawbacks and other things. I will explain them later, but basic idea is that you can use them for sure in .NET MAUI application in Android and iOS, in as well as in Mac OS. You might have to find a workarounds for different things. Gemma 4 is not supported at this point, but but it will be supported once the underlying layer of the package that provided by Microsoft is going to support that. There is an issue with 16 KB size on that package as well, but it's working. You can do it, but let's wait for the Microsoft to do it. Let's dive into what are the results and what do you need to do. So basic idea is that running. So you can see already that there's a compatibility issue with the 16 KB size, and the internet is stopped. So as soon as you open the first time application, it downloads the model, and it basically store it in the local storage of the application, and then later on for inferencing, we do inferencing through that local storage that we downloaded the model. So first you don't need anything. Basically it will download from my own repository on Hugging Face on X version of this model of Gemma text version 1, and it will basically you can do other things based on that. So let's look at it. I just going to pick the one of the PDF. So for this PDF specifically, I use Syncfusion package for getting the PDF and getting the text from the PDF and using that. And there is a different version. Summary sometimes is good, sometimes is not good. It still need if somehow if we can somehow use Gemma 4, I think it would be better. But for now, let's let's see why it wasn't able to generate the summary. Let me see again. React chat. Okay. So look, once you download it, it will show you this. Then let's see why it wasn't able to generate the summary. So meanwhile it's doing that, let me ask questions from the summary. It's actually because I'm using the same PDF. For you, it might take a little time, but for the PDF, it's already saved in memory, and you don't need. It will not ask you again and again for storing in memory cache for later on working on that. So let's ask uh, who is better, rich dad or poor dad? Let's see. Sometimes it hits hallucinate during the book. Which one is okay? Can you tell me a few lessons from the book? So it started generating those lessons that it has to be. So there is a limit that I added for the text generation, but you can change it based on this. What is financial literacy? Let's see. So it's we you can basically talk to PDF. So I think I might have to delete the application and second. Let me just restart the application from here. It might take a little time. Meanwhile, is doing that. Let me just explain to you why we need it. Because after one time download, it sits in your application, and you don't need any keys or anything. Once it's downloaded, you can just directly talk to it, and specifically related to it will works offline as well. So that's the basic idea. Basically private by default, work offline, no API keys, and answers for your questions. So what is the idea? We retrieve the whole PDF, and then we create embedding on those PDF. We create basically chunks, and then we store it in memory. I didn't want it to use it is using SQLite at the end, but I didn't want it to store and make it the application big and big. So I use SQLite version of in memory. So after sometimes it will delete its versions of different memory, and then basically it you ask a question, it embeds the question again, and later on it replies you based on the cosine similarity. So basically you create different chunks, and those chunks are stored in the memory in SQLites. Then we ask like what are we use vectors in this case specifically. I will explain the next slide. So you ask the question, and it finds like what are the similar kind of context that I have to see from the PDF, and it takes those similar context top three and then generate answer based on that. So let's look at it here. So how it works, you basically ingest the PDF, then takes the pages from that and divide that into chunks, and each chunks then converted into to vectors, and those vectors we store it later on in SQLite. So later on, once you ask a question something, then it creates a vector from it, and then it does cosine similarity of it and get fetch like top three answers from that, and then it asks the basically Gemma model like, okay, give me answer based on the provided context. So that's the basic idea. For now I am using Gemma version 3 270 million and IT, and also for embedding we are using mini LM. So those things, those models will be downloaded once you install the application automatically. That's pretty much it. I will explain how I created my own next version later on. and you can do that as well. You don't need like specific specific things. You can just use ONNX Gen AI runtime to create that. So basically there is this created by Microsoft toolkit that creates our next version of it, and you can use directly that inside your application. So you can basically use like a Whisper, Queen as well. So as well as Gemma, you can see that they are not supporting at this point Gemma 4, but whichever works better for you, you can create that. Um, and also in my documentation it's is mentioned that you can basically go and here is the version that pick any model that you want to basically create an ONNX version. For me, I took like that specific version that I mentioned in my slides, this version, Gemma 3 270 IT version, and then I created a ONNX version from it using the ONNX Runtime Gen AI. And later on, we are using package that Microsoft provided that basically we can inference through that package to our model. So there is a small thing that patches me and Claude had to do to make it work. But those patches is specifically here. Most probably you might need it for when you're creating your own next version of it. So, and also I'm using CPU version of it. So it's all based on CPU, not GPU is involved. Maybe later on, if you want to use it in the GPU or make it faster, you can use GPU as well. For now, I'm using 4-bit integer quantization. So that's pretty much it. After that, I uploaded it into Hugging Face, so you don't have you can just run directly this sample and it should be pretty enough. So let's go back to our, okay. So I deleted the application, so most probably I need the internet. Let's see. This is my testing device, so don't worry about that. Let's see. We close the application and it will now start downloading the model ONNX version of it. So meanwhile it's doing that, let's do few other things that I want to point out. What was that? So related to a structure of the application. So let's dive directly into what our .NET MAUI application is doing. And so it's basically a shell, and in the shell there is an there is a main setup page which basically downloads through iDownloader service. You can see that from here, generation, ingestion, chunking, services, model downloader. So basically it downloads the whole model, and if there is some, and also it's using some specific criteria for doing that. Here I mention like what is my for embedding, what is mini LM, where it is, and how which version of it, which files I need to pick. And also this is my version of NX that you can pick it up as well. That's basically, we need all of these somehow, because while in it inferencing it, we need that data to use it later on. Let me just give you overview of the package as well, because I think that's important as well. So sync fusion pdf.net, and licensing, basically sync fusion, as long as you're not using in the production, you can use that. So this is important, and these versions are important because these two are the key here. So on access runtime gen AI, basically through that we are inferencing it, and also on X runtime. Um, Going back to our chat application, we need to look into how we are dividing the text into chunks. I think it's better. Let's dive in directly to the page after, like for example, chat page or setup page, because after it fetches the PDF, it shows you everything, but later on it stores it in the memory. So basically, if you see, we are using many directly using that session to create generator and other things. So it will pick PDF and look, this is really important. Basically, it's downloading, it's basically making it into chunks and then storing it into the repository. Let's look at the definition of it. Let's look at the implementation of it. So you can see that we are storing our chunks in the blob specifically, and page number and text and other stuff, but that's not an important point, but that's basically what we are doing there. So as I explained before, so after it basically fetches the PDF, it divides into chunks and then store it into our local database. Let's look at how it's doing while we are answering the questions. So as soon as you ask something, it checks that whether it's not generating and stuff. This is not important at this point. What is important is here. If you look at, we basically embed our text as well and convert into vector, and then later on where we store, let's look at the implementation of it. So here, so it's nothing special. It's doing a cosine similarity on our vectors and fetching that and giving the scores and top k means like how many we are using it at 3 at this point. So let's go back. So if you see, you can do more if you want to make it better, and then later on after result we are giving everything to our model. And let's look at, because this is also important. um, okay, here is. So what we are doing here is nothing, and this temperature is really important. Google recommends zero point 0.1 temperature, and but I've seen that it start hallucinating more on, and if you basically that temperature defines like how the model will react to specific context. So that's it's important for me. It worked better in zero point 0.7. If you start restricting, 0.7 means that you are restricting the model to its contents, and it will not hallucinate or give answers outside the boundary of the model. um, then this search options is 0.95. Google recommended that as well. Other than that, let's see what it's doing. Let's see first, let's see like what prompt we are giving to the model itself. So we are giving like answer the question using, you can change that prompt based on your requirements. For me it works like this, and it was working pretty good for me. I mean, it's not amazing, but at the same time, it's doing its job. Maybe if you play around more, it will do better. Maybe there are different model like Queen. I wanted to explore Queen as well, but I just wanted to put it out there. If there are too much attraction, I'll start doing that as well. After that, it does the encoding and other stuff, and you basically generate after giving the prompt. So generator is, it start doing generate next token, and at the end when it finishes. And also this is important, max new tokens. So we are restricting it to not generate more than 1224 tokens. So it's we are restricting it there. So that's pretty much what it is doing, how it is doing, like buffering and all these things. um, and also for summary is working the same way. We are giving the context in summary. So in summary, during the creation of summary, I had a problem that Gemma is not that much powerful, or at least on runtime it fails. It supports the more tokens, but at runtime it fails because maybe most probably it runs out of memory of the phone. So what I did is, like, I give like few pages of the PDF to create like to create a summary version of it. So that's pretty much. Chunking is there, embedding is there. We are using mini. If you want, you can go through the code. It's not important, but you can just say that, like, it's creating at the end vector. Yeah, that vector is really important because in question comes in the vector forms, and the answer comes from, we needed to store those text based on vector embedding. So that's the basic idea. um, so let's see how it's doing currently. It downloaded the model. Meanwhile it was downloading, I started explaining the code. So let's see, like, I looked at 16 KB issue. We basically, this package need to be fixed, this runtime issue to support 16, I think 16 KB. So we will wait till that, till they support it. um, okay, so let's look at the application again. So okay, so documents which that forwarded. So it's basically now extracting the PDF. Look, it's creating chunks, and those chunks are later on saved in database. Once those are saved in database, um, once those are saved in database, we are basically going to use them through in memory. So if you pick different PDF, it will not it will do the same embedding chunks in the SQLite and store it there. So let's see how it is going to do. Let's see, hopefully this time it will create that summary again. So why so summary generation happens like a multiple time. So what I did is, like, it will not generate summary of the same PDF again and again. So that was the basic issue previously. So if you upload first time summary, so the summary kind of stayed the same. And let's, meanwhile it's doing that, let's ask the question, because it's all not dependent on each other. Let's say, what are the main lessons from the book Rich Dad, and who is better? Um, let's say, let's wait for it to answer. Okay, I maybe he didn't find the context. Let's see. So it started answering the question. So wait, let's see if tell me who is better, rich having a rich dad or poor dad. So it's still generating somehow. Let's wait it to finish. Let's see, there's some, okay, it stopped generating. Now let's see how it will reply. Sometimes it hallucinates. So let's see. So it answered like, here's a breakdown of the question based on where one of those father offered him choice of contrast. So who is better in your opinion? It doesn't answer the same way. So sometimes when I ask questions, now I ask in his opinion, like it answers me like rich dad is better. Why poor dad is wrong in is not good in your opinion. Okay, it didn't answer me. Why poor dad is having poor dad is not good, and can you tell me few traits of poor dad? Let's see. I mean, I don't know whether it is going to answer me the question, but let's see. Look, one father encouraged talking about the money and the business at the dinner table, while the other, so it will keep generating. So you can lower the context of, as I explained in the, basically if you go to, so if you want the answer to be lower, you can just sometimes it's also start generating more. If we start to um, ask it more, it keeps doing the same, giving the same kind of answer and repeating that. So I think that's my, um, so page one, remind that poor dad middle class do not determine a powerful guide to financial freedom from Protestant pointing. So it clearly summarizes the main points of the book in few short paragraph. So I didn't like it. Let's look at it again. Close it. So now it will load it from the memory. So I will close the internet as well. Let's see what it generates now. In your opinion, who is better, rich dad or poor dad? The rich father is not rich yet, and the poor father is not rich yet. I don't know. Give me few lessons from the book. So it start giving me the few lessons from the beginning. You can see that the internet is totally closed. So I think that's pretty much what it is. Um, let me know if you want me to explore more, like whether it will work on the on Mac OS or things like that. I think it will work on Mac OS, and also through using some custom code, it will work in iOS as well. The same mechanism, same things. Just keep in mind that check model first whether it is supported by ONNX Runtime GenAI or not, because you need the ONNX version of it to convert it. So later on you can directly inference the model from it. So if you are into hobbies, and we are all forgetting basically our hobbies, so what I would suggest is try HobbySwap. It is now location based, and you can swap your hobbies within your area, specific area. And let me know if you want need improvements there as well. Thank you.